For nearly 2,000 years, Christians have wrestled with one of the most sobering questions in theology. What happens to the lost? Is hell a place of eternal torment? Are the wicked annihilated? Or is everyone reconciled in the end? These aren't abstract questions. They shape how we read Scripture, how we understand the justice of God and the mercy of God, and how we think about life, death, and judgment. In this video, we're going to review 3 books, each presenting a different major Christian view on the fate of the lost. Not to caricature, not to score points, but to understand how each position argues its case and where each one succeeds or fails. The first book represents what has historically been the majority position in Western Christianity, eternal conscious torment, also known as ECT. According to this view, the wicked are raised immortal and endure never-ending agonies for eternity. One of the strongest aspects of this book is its serious engagement with Scripture. Passages like Matthew 25:46, Revelation 14:11, and Revelation 20:10 are treated as central pillars of the doctrine. The author also emphasizes the holiness of God, arguing that sin against an infinitely holy God merits infinite punishment. There is a clear attempt to ground the doctrine in historic deeds and church tradition, especially Augustine and later Reformed theology. However, the book assumes something crucial but rarely defended, that the soul is naturally immortal. This assumption does a tremendous amount of work, yet it is not explicitly taught in Scripture. Additionally, many biblical terms, death, destruction, perish, consume, are consistently reinterpreted to mean never-ending torment, rather than what those words normally teach. The moral argument also raises serious questions. Does endless suffering without end actually align with biblical justice, or does it conflict with God's proportional judgment? The second book argues for conditional immortality, often called annihilationism. According to this view, immortality is a gift given to the redeemed, and the lost ultimately face the second death, a final irreversible destruction. This book's greatest strength is its exhaustive biblical analysis. Fuge traces the language of destruction from Genesis to Revelation. The wages of sin is death. God can destroy both soul and body. They will be as though they had never been. Rather than redefining terms, the book allows biblical language to retain its natural meaning. It also challenges the idea of inherent immortality, showing that Scripture consistently presents immortality as something God alone possesses and grants through Christ. Some readers may find the book less emotionally driven than eternal torment defenses. Because annihilationism rejects eternal torment, critics sometimes accuse it of diminishing divine justice, though the book carefully argues that capital punishment is not leniency. Others may feel that certain symbolic passages in Revelation deserve more exploration, especially those traditionally used to defend ECT. Still, the book presents a coherent and biblically grounded alternative. The third book argues for universal salvation, the belief that God will ultimately save every human being. In this view, hell is corrective and temporary. This is the most philosophically sophisticated of the 3. Hart forcefully critiques the moral coherence of eternal torment, arguing that endless suffering would contradict God's nature as perfectly good. The book also emphasizes God's victory over evil, Christ's triumph over death, and the cosmic scope of redemption. Certain passages, such as God will be all in all, are explored with depth and rhetorical power. However, the book often relies heavily on philosophical necessity rather than explicit biblical teaching. Clear passages about the final judgment, destruction, and exclusion are frequently reinterpreted or minimized. Additionally, the book struggles to explain the biblical concept of finality, the second death, the lake of fire, and irreversible judgment. While emotionally compelling, the scriptural case remains selective. Each book answers the same question differently. Eternal torment emphasizes God's holiness but struggles with proportional justice in biblical language. Universalism emphasizes God's love but weakens the finality of judgment. Annihilationism balances justice and mercy by taking death seriously, both morally and biblically. The debate ultimately turns on three core questions. Is the soul naturally immortal? What do biblical terms like death and destruction mean? And does justice require endless suffering or final punishment? These books demonstrate that the doctrine of hell is not a side issue. It touches the heart of the gospel itself. Whatever conclusion one reaches, it must be biblically faithful, morally coherent, and Christ-centered.